Well, continuing in my introduction, the kind of do a deep dive in what APA Sustainable Communities Division has been doing in the arena that you are all talking about. Continuing, I can do this with my introduction. So outside of being a regional practice leader with Half Associates, I am the past chair of APA Sustainable Communities Division. I've been involved going all the way back since it was an interest group, which we formed as an interest group back in 2010. Over the years, I've been involved in many different things with APA. A lot of cool stuff. I think there was a long time in my career where the things that I believed in were not the things that I was truly working on, and it's only the last 6, 7, 8 years where those two worlds have combined. But over the years, I've helped out with APA's Rebuilding America initiative. You remember that going all the way back to 2011. I helped out on their green infrastructure sub-task force. I've worked with APA on their comp plan standards for sustaining places. If you've seen a couple years, they've done the student design competition. I created that framework for APA. And then more recently, as it relates to climate and mitigation adaptation, some of the things that I've been involved with, which I'll kind of walk through, is I'm one of two of their authors for their new planner advisory service, or their PS reports as they're called. It will be coming out. It's been a couple of years in the works. I'll talk about it a little bit, but it should be out in the next month or so. I should be out in the next week or two, actually. And then I was also co-author or team author of APA's Climate Change Mitigation Adaptation Policy Guide. So I'll kind of walk through some of those things. But a little bit background on our division. APA Sustainable Communities Division is one of 22 different divisions in APA. We have, when you think about divisions, they're really divided into two kind of things. You have a functional topic, like sustainable communities, like transportation, and then you also have our population-based divisions, groups focused on women in planning and things of that sort. So our group is focused on sustainable communities. We're one of the largest. I think transportation's a little bit larger than us, but we basically serve through APA about 2,800 planners and student planners, and representation just through our division membership across 48 states and 29 countries. So people that actually pay to be part of our membership. We did start back in 2010 as about an interest group. We became a full division in 2012. And then beyond the stuff that we do through APA, we have a pretty big following through our social media as well. So our LinkedIn account alone has about 7,500 people, Facebook, new Instagram. We also have a series of e-bulletins that we sent out kind of under a separate framework from our division membership. So we're pretty large, even though it's all volunteer. The other thing just to mention real quick, as it relates to groups and organizations and collaborators from different areas, is we do have a pretty big sponsorship program that we started way back when we had an interest group. And the reason I bring that up is it's really this kind of investment that we got from our sponsors that has allowed us to do a lot of the cool things that we've done over the years. And without this, just the basic stuff that comes through APA would never be enough to cover the grants that we do, the projects that we've done, things of that sort. So I mentioned it for that reason. And then going back from 2010, 2012 became a division. As I was wrapping up my division chair, which is now probably 3 years ago or so, we were going to transition to a new chair coming in who was also a part of the division since its founding. And we decided we had been big enough and established long enough that we wanted to kind of double down on who we were and what we were about. And so we went through this strategic planning process as a leadership group, and we brainstormed on all the things that we wanted to do. And when you think about our name, Sustainable Communities, that pretty much covers everything you could possibly think of. And coming out of that strategic planning process, we developed a vision, empower planners, creating sustainable, resilient, equitable communities. And then the mission statement just kind of says how we do that. But the other thing that we did was we wanted to kind of really narrow down what we focused on. We wanted to focus on our people, providing education, growing our leadership group and creating leadership opportunities, and then fostering partnerships with outside groups. And the other thing that we did, if I go back up to here, is that we decided to think about all the things that we get involved with. And we said, let's pick a topic that we think is the most important, and let's focus on that for the next couple of years in everything that we do, whether it's documents, writing, educational webinars, whatever it might be. And the leadership group, which is about 10, 15 people, came back and said, we want to focus on climate and equity. And so for the past 2 years, pretty much policy-wise, that's all we've focused on. All of our efforts went into the climate and equity conversation. We do have, as we go through some of these things, all these things are available on our websites. It's apascd.com. You can go and check out the resources that we have. And then just kind of going through our different kind of branches. Our communication program is pretty strong with our website. We do have that bi-weekly e-bulletin that goes out. It has articles, it has job postings, it has connection to division activities, a connection to things going on in LinkedIn, things of that sort, RFQs, things of that, and that goes out every 2 weeks. We send welcome letters out. We do a ton of social media, e-blasts, things of that sort. Probably our biggest group, our biggest focus is our educational side. We do probably 6 or 7 of our own educational webinars each year. We have a sustainability program that we have out there that since this upcoming year will be our 10th year that we've done that. We talked about all the years that I've been involved. We never did a series focused on sustainability. So this past year, we started our sustainability symposium. This first one, we had a half day, about 500 people participated. And then, of course, for all of our history, we've always focused on our national planning conference sessions and events and receptions, things of that sort. Some of our partnerships, we'll go through some of these a little bit. Our Climate Champions group, I'll get in a little bit. Our focus on the Great Plains Institute was really a partnership as we dive into some of the things I'll show you. Our Smart Cities Interest Group has always been a subtopic of Sustainable Communities Division. It's a separate interest group right now, but we brought that under the umbrella of Sustainable Communities Division. We're a constant provider to APA Foundation, anywhere between $500 and $1,000 we give to APA's foundation to grow planners and provide opportunities. Some of the past partnerships that we've done, we've partnered with USGBC to do a series of Lead for Cities webinars. We've also partnered in the past with eco districts to do a certification process. So there's things of that. We've kind of done these small little partnerships. Some of all these initiatives on the right, I'm going to kind of go through in a little bit. So first, I wanted to kind of do a quick overview. The Planner Advisory Report, or PS Report 601, is going to come out, I think, by July 1st. It's a comprehensive overhaul rewrite to 2010 climate change PAS report. Really, it is a just consolidated document where we want to try to provide as much background to our planners, knowing that this is a fast-moving conversation. We actually would get drafts drafted, and it took us almost 2.5 years to pull this together. And every time we got to a finishing point, something else major would come out, like the AR6 from IPCC or something from the National Climate Assessment. And so we've tried to pull together just a comprehensive introductory resource to set the stage for a whole bunch of deep dives that are going to have to happen moving forward. So 10 chapters. Inside of this, there's also 12 case studies. We tried to pull together case studies from all across the U.S., focused on both mitigation and adaptation, covering a variety of different jurisdiction types, scales of jurisdictions or entities, and of course, geographic locations. So we try to hit all the different types of climate and adaptation issues that are out there. Another resource that we pulled together, all these are all APA Sustainable Communities Initiative, meaning every person that touched, besides APA staff, every person that touched the PS report was a member of APA Sustainable Communities Division. Same thing for the Climate Change Policy Guide. So this was drafted with APA Sustainable Community Division's volunteers. Everyone involved was one of our members, except for the one point person of staff that came from the Legislative and Policy Committee. But this document that came out, I think in 2020, replaces the 2008 policy guide. It represents APA's official position on critical issues related to climate change. We did organize this document within the framework of APA's comprehensive plan standards focused on sustaining places. And we did that for a very specific reason, is we wanted to make sure that we were touching on climate change, hitting every one of these topics versus just getting siloed into a traditional response of mitigation and adaptation, but focused on, we're talking about it from all these different topics. And so if you go in, I know you can't read it on the right, but basically it's just an example of what this looks like. There were 7 overall general policy statements that explain why we organize it this way, 51 specific policy statements, and then 200, and this is what I think is the most important part of the document, is that if you looked at any one of APA's policy guides, they can have these high-level sentences like, hey, we believe in this, and there's no next steps. And so this policy guide added 253 supporting strategies to achieve that policy outcome. So you can see on the right, the policy C.1 is talking about enacting policies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Then there's an explanation, and then it's got 253 of these type of strategies trying to say, here's some of the next steps you can do to achieve this policy statement, going all the way into things like, how do we look at achieving climate change mitigation or adaptation from, solid waste or, wastewater, things of that sort. So trying to do research to support that. Our Climate Champions program, this was something that we initiated way back when we became a division. It was actually our Sustainability Champions program. The focus of this is, if you think of APA chapters and APA divisions. So APA chapters are basically a geographic focus, and divisions, if you're a functional topic, are really an overarching national conversation. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to take our overarching national conversation and connect it back to geographic areas. So we established back then was our Sustainability Champions program. It was rebranded, as you see in the screen, in 2021 to focus on that climate issue in concert with our strategic plan. And here are some of the tools that this group developed in concert with one of our partners, the Great Plains Institute, over the next 2 years after that. So we pulled together a data collection process guide. I'm just going to show you some screenshots, but all this is available on our website. Basically trying to capture a complete snapshot of all the growing different lists of resources that are out there based on whether you're looking at renewable resources, transportation, whatever it might be. Sorry. Here's another example of what that looks like when you get into the details of what we're looking at, the resources, links to those resources. You can see the different tabs across the bottom. We compiled a development review checklist trying to connect. Oftentimes we have, long range planning in cities, and by the time they get to development, the conversation drops. And so we tried to paint the picture of how do we carry this through all the way into the built environments outside of regulations. If anyone's been involved in that, you have your regulations, you have your long range planning, but once you get into the development process, a lot of things go to negotiation, and we're trying to close the loop on that. So here's just more information on things from that you can find on the websites. We've also pulled together some both model and example, like real existing codes that are out there. You can filter it by topic, you can filter it by population size, jurisdiction type, things of that sort, but we compiled that to provide resources for people to go and find actual language that they can at least pull into their regulations. And then the other thing that we did was, as a division, they came to us to, I know at least one person on the call about understands what APA does, but basically we as a group have 32 hours of training we have to do every 2 years to maintain certification if you are certified. Historically, they had 1.5 credits for law, 1.5 credits for ethics, and then they redid it 2 years ago and basically went to maintain 32, but went down to 1 hour each for law and ethics added an hour for equity, and added an hour for special topics. And the first special topic they chose was what they wanted to do was chose climate change. They felt like they weren't ready to call it that yet, so they went back and called it the sustainability and resilience. And I was like, wow, that's great. After 10 years of fighting to say the word sustainability, now it's in, and I just can't say climate change for for the next couple of years. So they called it the Sustainability and Resilience Series. Our group, what's going to be our new chair, led the task force to develop the criteria, and then as a division, we committed to working with other divisions to put on 24 hours of free training, free webinars over the 2-year period that met the requirements of the sustainability and resilience credit, which was largely related to climate change. So that over the next 2 years, there was a free resource for our planners to do this. Now, we're not doing all the speaking. We're pulling speakers in from all across the country. There's connections on our website for people that are interested in speaking. But we are, I think, 6 months into that 2-year period. We'll be providing opportunities every month in concert with the Ohio Webcast Planning Series. They're the ones that are actually going to host it for us, but all the content's coming through our division's efforts. So with that, basically, we have been doing a lot in what we feel the climate arena. We're trying to get our planners up to speed on the topic. There's people out there that understand it, but it's still not mainstream in everything that we do. And I'm pretty sure everybody in this call understands the importance of why it needs to be mainstreamed in everything that we do. And so that's what the Sustainable Communities Division has been focused on for the last several years, and obviously for the years to come. So with that, I think that was it.